Shalom Chaverim, today Parashat Naso, the Torah portion of Naso, and we are going to do it with the help of the French Jewish sociologist Emile Durkheim. And so a few words about Durkheim. He was born in 1858 and died in 1917, basically in the middle of the First World War. And some would actually call Durkheim one of the fathers of the field of sociology, meaning in the 19th century, social sciences were not really a thing, let alone sociology. And actually, Durkheim was one of the pushers in French academic circles to really implement sociology as an actual field of research. And he have really interesting researches that he did himself that we are going to talk about. So another interesting fact about Durkheim is that he was actually the grandson and the son of Orthodox rabbis. Both his father and grandfather were Orthodox. And when he turned 18, he actually completely turned his back on Orthodox Judaism and became an atheist, became completely secular. And his book that we're going to explore today, which is called The Elementary Forms of Religious Life, is a complete secular take on religion. So, what is in the core of the book? So in the core of the book, Durkheim suggests that religion is a complete social phenomenon, a complete social construct, meaning religion is not necessarily the reaction, the response, the relationship that one person has with the divine, but rather the opposite. Religion is a collective effort, not individual, and it is religion that actually is the glue that holds societies together. How do those religious forms, how do all religions form? For that, Durkheim actually went to Australia for his research and observed Aboriginal tribes and their rituals, and he defines what he saw as the most basic or the most fundamental forms of religion, and around them he understood the societal connections that he's seen and applied it to the religions that we practice nowadays. Okay, so Durkheim says that all religions are born from one simple act, and it is an act of separation. Separation of what? Separating the sacred from the profane. That is what makes the beginning of the religious act. If you take our Jewish religion, for example, you know how when we have our Havdalah ceremony, Havdalah, by the way, means separation, we say Hamavdil ben Kodesh lechol. Literally, we're saying separating the sacred from the profane. We have days that we hold sacred and days that are profane. We have the holidays that we hold sacred. We have objects. We have times. And all of that separation is what is in the core of our religion. And here, let me share with you this is the most recent translation of the book. And let me share with you in Durkheim's words. All known religious beliefs, whether simple or complex, present a common quality. They presuppose a classification of things. The real or ideal things that man represents for themselves into two classes, two opposite kinds, generally designated by two distinct terms, effectively translated by the words profane and sacred. So basically what we separate as sacred, we then find ways of handling. And those ways is what we call rituals. So let's stop here and go to our Torah portion, Naso, and see how actually the last chapter in our portion perfectly illustrates Durkheim's claims and ideas. So, Parashat Naso, by the way, is a beautiful portion. It has a lot of really interesting things, starting with the business of the Sotah and the rules of the Nazarite. Actually, the priestly blessing, the Birkat Kohanim, is in this parasha. But the end of the portion, which could look a little mundane or even boring, the last chapter in the portion is basically the dedication of the Mishkan, of the tabernacle, and it specifies the offering that each of the tribe leaders is giving to the Mishkan. And it's really just, okay, so-and-so is giving these 2 silver bowls, this bowl weighs this and this, that bowl weighs this and this, there's a golden ladle, these are the animals, and that goes for every tribe leader 12 times. So it's a little tedious to read. So I'm going to just give you an example from the 6th one, okay? Like down the middle, okay? So it says, Bayom HaShishi Nasi Livnei Gad Eliasaf ben Deuel. So this is the leader of the tribe of Gad. And קורבנו קערת כסף אחת 30 ו100 משקלם מזרק אחד כסף 70 שקל בשקל הקודש שניהם מלאים סולת בלולה בשמן למנחה. So again, he is offering, so the bowl weighs, that's the silver bowl, 130 shekels. Okay, by the way, shekel, which is also the name of the Israeli currency, is actually, in those times, basically a weighing measurement of silver. So it's 130 shekels, and the other silver bowl 70 shekels, and so forth and so on. Okay, so now we're gonna go to Midrash. Okay, so here at Der Nister, of course, there's all versions, English, Hebrew, you can find whatever you're looking for of the Midrashim. So this is Midrash Rabbah, okay, for Bamidbar, so Midrash Rabbah for the book of Numbers. And I'm just going to read a little bit from it. And la da 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 da. Let me find that. Okay, so what does the Midrash says? מזרק אחד כסף, זה משה שנזרק ליאור. Okay, so what does it says? It says the mizrak, which is basically the silver bowl. If you hear it, mizrak comes from the root of z, r, k, and it's the root of the same word nizrak that means thrown. So that is Moses that was thrown to the Nile. Okay, so the mizrak זה משה שנזרק ליאור, thrown to the Nile. דבר אחר שנזרק ממצרים. Or, when he killed the Egyptian guard, he was thrown out of Egypt, נזרק. Therefore, when we offer that silver bowl, the mizrak is to symbolize either Moses being thrown to the Nile or Moses being thrown out of Egypt. ויברח משה וכו 70 שקל בשקל הקודש, אלו על שם זקנים שמינה משה כולם נביאים. Okay, so what does this say? This says that the 70 shekels, the 70 comes after the 70 elders that Moses was appointing. Why is this important? This is important because it perfectly illustrates Durkheim's point that our rituals and our objects are actually societal symbols that represent our history and the relations in our society, right? So what was holding that society together? The common story, the past, the story of that liberation. So those objects are representation of that shared, of that common history. And then, of course, you have the division in society of each bringing those objects that then is separated as sacred and not profane. And there's a ritual that is formed around them by bringing it to the tabernacle. And that's exactly how Durkheim would say religion forms society. So if you think about it, when we think of philosophy and we think of different approaches to religion, and I'll bring you two complete opposites. So for example, if you think of Marx, right? So Marx and his religion is the opium of the people, yada, yada. Marx basically viewed religion as part of a superstructure that supports the material conditions. So basically, in order for us to really continue our being oppressed and not rebel and basically cope with that, oppressive material conditions that we are in, religion is what holds us at bay as a part of the superstructure of capitalism, if you will. Therefore, opium of the people. And then several weeks ago, we brought here Rodolphe Otto and Abraham Joshua Heschel that went in a completely different direction, as religion, right, is that radical amazement, right, that feeling that awe, the tremendum, the fascination that you have because of the mysterium, right, that thing that is supernatural, that is outside of us, that we respond to, that is individual. Again, a complete opposite approach. Durkheim was a functionalist. For him, religion is a functional tool that we need in order to even function as a society at all. Now, this is very important, because if you look at religion from this point of view, then we can find religion everywhere. And we can find religion in our secular institutions. Okay? So for example, think about the state. According to Durkheim, the state has religious aspect to it. Think about the flag of a certain country. It is held as sacred. It is held as sacred because there's a ritual around it. So for example, think about the Pledge of Allegiance, right? Think about these are all actual religious aspect of this institution that we call secular. And if you even go further and think about other systems where we hold things sacred and form rituals around them, then nationalism is a religion, and communism is a religion, and capitalism is a religion. So in conclusion for today, what I would like you to think about is really think about, what do you do in your life to separate the sacred from the profane? What do you have in your lives, objects, times that you hold sacred? What little rituals do you have that you form around them? And maybe if you do that, you discover that you might be more religious than you think. Shabbat Shalom.